Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Chisom, your coding companion, and today we are diving into the wonderful world of Sass. And for those of you that don't know what Sass is, it stands for Syntactically Awesome Style Sheets. And now Sass is what we call a CSS preprocessor. It is simply a wonderful tool that enables us apply logic to our CSS styling. Now it's called a CSS preprocessor because it is compiled into CSS, meaning it is not actually rendered in our browser. Rather, it goes through some sort of compiler and it is transformed from what it is to actual CSS. Now, if you want to learn more about how Sass syntax works and the different nuances that come with Sass, you can visit the site sasslang.com and I would link that to the description below. But let's focus on what we actually have for today. Now, before we can get started what we have for today, we need to go through some things, and one of those things is setting up Sass in your project. Now, you can utilize Sass in any kind of project, be it a vanilla project or a project utilizing a framework of some sort, like React and the rest. And there are different ways you can actually approach this. The first way I approached this when I started out was using the live Sass compiler extension that VS Code provides. So if you go to VS Code and search in the extension store, you see this live Sass compiler by Glenn Marks. So sorry about that. By Glenn Marks. There should be two, but one is no longer maintained. This is the one that is currently maintained. And what this live Sass compiler does is that the moment you indicate it or you switch it on, you enable it. That's the term I should use. The moment you enable it and you say you should watch your Sass file, once you click on watch Sass file, whenever you make any changes to your Sass file, those changes are automatically compiled to an output CSS file, which would then display the proper styling in your browser. Now, this is a very, very easy way of doing this. There's still other ways, like I said. Another way again, sorry for this, is using a tax runner like Gulp. Now, Gulp has a plugin that you can actually utilize with it in your project to get started with Sass, and that plugin is what we call Gulp Sass. You can easily install Gulp Sass from npm. You can follow all the instructions from the official site. I'll link all this to the description below. And then one other way again, which is one of my favorite ways, is utilizing Vite. Now, Vite is a very awesome build tool. I always recommend Vite because it has so many advantages. You can read about it in the official documentation site. I use Vite to start out. It could be these days I use it to start out even regular vanilla projects, especially when I'm using TypeScript, and I always use it to start out my React projects. So Vite has a lot of use cases, and you can learn more about that here. So for this particular tutorial, I utilize Vite to get started with the project, and I'm just going to go over this process. So if you want to utilize Vite, very, very simple. All you have to do is, depending on the package manager you are using, I love using yarn. So all you have to do is run the command yarn create Vite. Now, the moment you run this command, you would follow the guides to set up your project, of which the project I set up here was a vanilla project with a variant of JavaScript. So let's go straight to the code. Now, I have a very, very simple setup here. Most of this were provided by Vite. So a gitignore file, an index.html, main.js file, a package.json, and so on and so forth. You can read up on the meaning of this for those that don't know the meaning. But let's just focus on this now. To utilize Sass with Vite, you have to first install the Sass package as a dev dependency. So as you run as you've started your scaffolded your Vite project, you need to install Sass as a dev dependency. The moment, and how do you install Sass as a dev dependency? That's actually very simple. Just say yarn add dash dev, dash dev Sass. And now this, I've already run this command, so I won't be running it now. This would install Sass as a dev dependency, and the work is done. All you have to do now is create your Sass file and just import it into your main.js file. If you're using vanilla, just import the Sass file into your main.js file, and that's all. Vite will handle the rest for you. And all you need to do for the index, for everything to work, is you have to just link the script tag to your index file. So once you link it to the main.js, everything just works, and you can start utilizing Sass in your project. So now that we're done with setting up Sass, let me explain what, sorry for that. Let me explain what I mean by scope styling. For those of you that don't know or have no idea of the meaning of scope styling. Now, when you hear the term scoped, you know that you're talking about something limited to a specific area. You're talking about area. So scope styling simply means you're applying styling to a particular area, a particular niche, particular section of your code base. Now, CSS by default doesn't have any scope styling, meaning if I apply a style to a particular tag or item, it's going to apply that style globally to every item that matches that selector. For instance, in this my site, this is my dummy site, I have a bunch of H2s everywhere. Now, let's say I want to apply a styling to this H2 inside these articles. Obviously, from here, what I'm going to do is just to say my H2, let's just say I change the color to hot pink. Sorry, yeah, hot pink. Now, right away, Vite does some hot module reloading, so it should be updated in the browser. You see that not only is this latest article's H2 hot pink, but every other H2 within my page also turns hot pink. Now, this is a very useful feature in CSS, obviously, because I won't say it's an error, because that's how the smart people built it, and it's actually useful. But then there are some cases where I actually want to apply styles to only fit to a particular scope in my project. For instance, I just want to apply H2 here, and so I also apply this hot pink style to H2, so I don't want to affect other ones. Now there are ways to do this with just plain CSS, but stuff like just saying, for example, if I want to target the articles H2, I just say articles H2, and it only target the H2 within the articles. Yes, but then this is bulky code to write. Like, I have to think about it. Just I'll have to go to HTML, then I'll look at the parent. Maybe if the parent doesn't have a class name, I have to give it a class name just because I want to style one of its content inside. So it's not ideal. But then there's a workaround, and this workaround comes from Sass. There are still other workarounds as well, but I'm only focusing on scope styling using Sass. Now, in Sass, there's a feature we call nesting, and though that feature just recently came to CSS, but I still prefer using Sass for it. Now, nesting it's a concept that allows you to determine parent-children relationships in your styling. So, for instance, if I want to nest some selectors, so let's just say if I want to utilize nesting in this same articles H2 over here, I simply just say my articles, and what I'm doing with this is that inside of these articles, so let me see if I can just spell that well. Inside of these articles, I can nest a selector. I can put it within it. So this is not proper CSS syntax that has wide browser support, but Sass allows you to do this. Now with this, thanks to Sass's powerful engine, it knows that whatever I'm putting here, whatever styles I'm putting here, be it a background color of brick orange, brick is it brick red, sorry, brick red, something like that. Am I getting that color right? Okay, no, I didn't get that color. Let's just use something like Rebecca purple then. Okay, so now thanks to Sass's wonderful engine, it knows that everything that I write under this articles block, everything I next here is only going to be defined within this. Now, at the end of the day, for those of you guys who kill me in the comment section, I know that at the end of the day, this is still going to get transferred to what we had before as articles and H2. Yes, but then if you can allow Sass to take over the control of that, why not? Like for instance, I want to show you why this is actually very useful. For instance, let's say I don't just want to target only the H2 here. I also want to target other things within here, like an article. I want to target this other article. I want to target this this paragraph within this article, or this A tag within this article. I don't have to start writing articles H2P or articles P and so on and so forth. All I need to do is I declare my parent as my articles, and within the parent, all I have to do is just target the particular child I want. So if, for example, I want the A tag to have a width of, let's just say, a display of block and margin all around of 2M. Okay, let's say 2M, or let's say 4M to make it more pronounced, and maybe a color of hot pink. Now, if I check, see that all the links within my articles, so there are actually other links here, like this link, but the link is not targeted. So now I have successfully achieved scope styling in the sense that my only the styles, only the selectors within this particular scope I declared are actually receiving these styles I have. So just to reiterate, if I had done normal A tag and I say that these A tags have maybe a position of absolute, and I come over here, this would affect all of the A tags. If you notice, every single link within my page has that position coming in. But because of Sass's powerful nesting functionality, I'm actually able to apply these styles to specific scopes, and it just makes my work really, really efficient. Now, some of you might not really see the advantage to using such an approach, but then it will come in handy when you're working on huge projects and you are someone like me that likes separating your styles entirely from your content. I would I would I would actually give an example currently. Let's see if I can pull up a project where I did something like that. So sorry, just very, very quickly. You know what? Let me use my terminal. CD. Okay. Okay. CD triple C. And code. Okay. This launches now. In this particular project, I utilized Sass and React. So I am someone that likes separating all my styling from my actual content. So if you check my components, for instance, my components folder, you see I have my form components, form input components, I have the layout component with the header, and so on and so forth. Now, all of this, if you notice, there's not a single style applied here. Now, what I normally do here is I create for each component that element I have in my project, what I do is that I create a Sass file for them. So for example, here I have a form, I have layout, I have so many components. I see header. Now this header Sass file relates to the header. Now, if you open the header file, you see that all the styling I applied in this entire file, except these keyframes, just leave these keyframes, it's not really important, are all nested within this header. And if you check where this header is defined, you see that the header is the parent, that's the parent element. So with this now, even if I should have headers, maybe I have header tags, not header class names, but header tags in other areas in my document, I know that this particular styling, they're not going to affect those other header tags. They're only going to affect this header that has this class name of header. And this allows me to utilize, to reuse utility classes like wrapper, container, and so on and so forth. For instance, if I go back to my dummy site, sorry for going out. So if I go back to my dummy site and let's just say I want to create a container. Let's say, for instance, I don't like the way this guy is. These guys are separately on their own, and I want to wrap them within a container. I can just say, these guys have a container, and I paste it here. Now, these guys have a container. Maybe I also want to have a container somewhere else again, and maybe something like in the hero section. I also want a container for just the H1 and the P. And container, sorry, let me just spell well. Now, I can easily target the separate containers. For instance, if I want my hero container to take a height of 100% or 100 viewport height, so I have my hero. First, I target my hero, so dot hero, and I only want within that hero, what I want is that only the container within that hero should have a height of 100 dynamic viewport height. And if I do that and save, you find out that in the hero section, you see that this container, which is this guy over here, has this height. And this container that I set in the article. So if I check my index.html, you also notice that this container over here doesn't get any styling because it's not within the hero section, but it's within an article section, and so on and so forth. So that's just it. That's a wrap. And yeah, that's a wrap for today's coding session. If you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to never miss out on our coding escapades. I'd love to hear opinions on this video, and if you have any video requests, especially related to front-end technologies, please indicate those in the comment section below. Until next time, happy coding and stay awesome.